In Chapter 8, one of the things that we cover are the preterite of stem-changing verbs, and we've talked about the preterite tense in the last two chapters. Specifically, Chapter 6, we introduced the preterite tense, and we see that the endings that we learned in Chapter 6 are the same endings that we use for the stem-changing verbs in the preterite tense. Not all verbs that are stem changing in the present tense are stem changing in the preterite tense. We found some of the verbs that are not stem changing in the preterite tense. For example, jugar is not stem changing the preterite tense. Another thing that you'll notice when you start working with these verbs is if you look at the bottom of this intentalo, and you'll find it on page 274 and 275 in your textbook. If you have a different edition than this one, it might be a little bit off as far as page numbers, but it should look about the same as far as seeing the preterite tense of the stem changing verbs. On the bottom of the page, you'll look at the verbs that are all stem changing the preterite tense. And one thing you'll notice is most of them, if not all of them, are ending in IR, meaning that the endings for all these verbs are the same. For yo, the ending is I accent. Tu, it's iste. For usted, el, ella, it's iyo with an accent over the O. And imos for nosotros, and hicieron for ustedes, ellos, ellas. Vosotros, we don't cover as far as assessment, but if you are going to Spain, make sure you know that conjugation as well. But the other thing that you'll notice about stem changing verbs, in the present tense, all subjects are stem changing, but in the preterite tense, only for usted, el, and ella, and ustedes, ellos, and ellas do we stem change, meaning that we change this E in the middle to I here, and we change the O in the middle to you here. So it's pretty straightforward. Another thing to be aware of is that if a verb is reflexive, like we learned in Chapter 7, like dormirse, dormirse is reflexive, meaning that we still have to use the reflexive pronoun. So if I said, los señores Suárez, which would be ellos, se durmieron. And so I have to move that reflexive pronoun to the beginning, and then I have to conjugate it for ellos, which is durmieron. So just be aware that some verbs are still reflexive. It doesn't mean just because we were done with them in Chapter 7 that we're done with them completely.